You can be forgiven for not quite noticing the various intricate details of The Last Jedi upon your first viewing. I mean, I'm still trying to process all the different plot twists more than 4 weeks removed. It's no easy task, I can assure you. But hey, critics and fans alike seem to agree that you should check out the latest Star Wars cinematic installment at least twice. So next time you're sitting back waiting for the classic blue text to appear, make sure to keep an eye out for these 10 not so obvious Easter eggs and cameos. Number 10. Battle damaged Luke. One of the bigger talking points coming out The Last Jedi is how much Luke Skywalker's character differs from the original trilogy. And while we can sit here and debate for hours whether the Jedi Master has simply aged 30 years or has been completely mishandled, at least there is one thing we can all agree on.
Mean milk is awesome.
In all seriousness, there is one aspect of Luke's character that hasn't changed all that much other than a botched skin graft. Yes, I'm talking about Luke's mechanical hand, which still bears the same blaster bolt induced scorch mark from his scuffle aboard Jabba's sail barge. Number 9. A relic from the battlefront. Sticking with Luke Skywalker, and did you know that the very compass found on his travels to Pelio, a playable mission in Star Wars Battlefront 2, can be found in the Jedi Master's homestead on Ahch-To? Well, if not, now you do. Time to move on to the next entry, I guess. Number 8. Force projection. Now, I don't know about you, but it took me way too long to notice that Luke Skywalker's presence on Crate was nothing more than a force projection. And I say way too long because all the clues were there. Firstly, with a shorter haircut and dyed beard like you'd just found just for men, he looked a good 10 years younger than his present self. And secondly, Luke's choice to use his blue lightsaber was rather suspicious given the weapon's destruction only a few scenes prior. But if that wasn't compelling enough, the famous Jedi failed to cast any footprints in the world's salty sands. Number 7. A rogue director. Speaking of Crate and the final showdown between the forces of good and evil, you may have noticed that at least one of the Resistance troopers looked rather like Gareth Edwards. Now for those who don't know, Gareth Edwards was a chap who directed Rogue One, and in that very anthology film, he awarded Rian Johnson the cameo role of an Imperial gunner. So to return the favour, Johnson cast Edwards in The Last Jedi in a similar blink and you'll miss it moment. Yet that wasn't the only connection between the two films. For example, General Leia Organa's flagship was named the Raddus after, well, Rebel Alliance hero Admiral Raddus. Number 6. Royal Stormtroopers. The Star Wars saga is certainly no stranger to royalty, nor is it unfamiliar with celebrity stormtrooper cameos. Here's looking at you, Bond. James Bond. So if I were to tell you that Princes Harry and William were both called upon to don the classic white armour, you would probably believe me, right? Well, you should, as they did. And while their specific scene failed to make the final cut of the film, everyone from the likes of Gary Barlow to Tom Hardy are said to have featured in the capture of Finn and Rose. Number 5. The boys are back. Now it's no secret that J.J. Abrams' love for the Beastie Boys contributed to some rather intriguing character names in The Force Awakens. Illo Asti, for example, was named after the hip hop group's song Hello Nasty. But did you know that even with Rian Johnson in charge, the trend has continued? It's sort of become a running joke and rule for members of the Abednedo species to be named in a similar manner to the aforementioned pilot. Il Comunica, Root Down and Brass Monkey were all named after songs Il Communication, Root Down and Brass Monkey respectively. Even the disgruntled Abednedo on Canto Bight, voiced by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, was named Slow and Low after, yep, you guessed it, Slow and Low. Number 4. Alderaan lives. Alderaan, we hardly knew you, but at least we now have foliage to remember you by. Seriously, after the planet's destruction, RIP by the way, Alderanian trees became something of a commodity for the obscenely rich. This is why the various promenades of Canto Bight are lined with the fire and spice of chinar trees. Number 3. BB-8, the mouse droid. Aside from R2-D2, or maybe Porgs, or perhaps anything small and or furry in the entire Star Wars universe, BB-8 is just the cutest. And as it turns out, he's quite the undercover operative, as proven by his various mouse droid inspired beeps and whistles whilst sneaking around the supremacy. Number 2. A bad feeling. You know, before I began writing this list, I thought to myself, is it clickbait enough? No, I'm joking. I thought to myself, I have a bad feeling about this. And nearing the end of the video, with only 1/10 of you still here to indulge my annoying Scottish / Irish / European accent, seriously guys, make up your minds. I think the saying very much rings true. Anyway, the aforementioned line is perhaps the most renowned phrase in the entire Star Wars saga, other than perhaps,
"May the Force be with you."
Yet its inclusion in The Last Jedi is incredibly easy to miss. In fact, not a single human or alien character mutters this classic line. Instead, good old BB-8 anxiously chirps away in the film's opening scene, to which Poe Dameron replies something to the effect of, "Happy beeps buddy, happy beeps." Number 1. Carry On Barking. Before her passing in late 2016, Carrie Fisher and her dog Gary were inseparable, as inseparable could possibly be. Even while touring the world and appearing on various talk shows, one was never far from the other. When it came to the galaxy far, far away, however, well, they couldn't be further apart. No joke, Gary can be found amidst the rich and powerful of Canto Bight, all while Carrie's very own character recovers from the harsh climate of space light years away. With that being said, The Last Jedi is truly one of the greatest tributes to the late, great actress. So there are 10 Easter eggs and cameos in The Last Jedi. But were there any that I missed? Let me know in the comments below. If you learned something new from today's video, be sure to leave a like. And for weekly content on all things Star Wars Episode 8, press that subscribe button and notification bell to keep it locked here to the Cargazans.